Hey friends, welcome back to Begin As You Mean to Go On. This is the final episode of season 3, and I'm very excited to chat with you today. We're going to talk about 5 ways to go deeper with your marketing, and can't wait to share that list with you. But before we get into it, of course, if this happens to be your first episode, then here's the procedure. Okay, I want you to listen to the entire episode, right? Don't commit early. Go ahead, listen to the whole thing. Make sure that you're picking up what I'm putting down, that you're getting value from the episode. And at the end, if that is the case, I don't see how it couldn't be, but I will issue you an invitation at the end to go ahead and follow the podcast, subscribe, to go deeper with us and get more goodies so that I can keep bringing you this valuable content. All right, so let's get into it. I want to talk about 5 ways to go deeper with your marketing. And I really took some time to figure out what did I want to talk about for this final episode, and this topic was inspiring to me because this is these are the things that that we're actually working on internally here at Carvel Digital. Is not just, you don't need to just keep creating more content and creating more content and creating more content, right? You need to have a strategy, you need to have a plan, and you need to figure out a way to make the things that you're already doing work better and more efficiently and more successfully. So that's why I wanted to talk about going deeper, because I don't want you to get stuck just thinking, oh, I've just got to be on this hamster wheel and I've just got to churn out content forever and ever. Amen. Right? No, we want to get more results from the things that we're already doing that are working. So let's get started with number 1. First thing I'm going to say to you is update your nurture sequence. So, by that, I mean, you have an email list, right? And you have a series of emails that go out to new subscribers, people who are brand new to your business. And those emails tell people more about who you are, what you do, how you do it, the problems you solve, how you do that, and ultimately how they can get your help, right? How you can pay for your help. So, your business changes as time goes on, right? Your offers change, the way you do things change, you get better and more knowledgeable at the things that you do. And so it's really a good idea to go back every 6 months or every year or so and go take a look at that nurture sequence. And you don't have to necessarily like rip it back to the studs, but we write these things and we put them in place and they just keep working for us. And it's a really good idea to go back and say like, hey, what, what was I saying to people? And maybe you just make little tweaks to it and update it, or maybe you tear the whole thing to the ground and you start over. Either way, you're going to get value out of going back to that and just making sure that you keep it fresh and you keep it up to date. If you do rip it down to the studs and start over, then go ahead and resend it to everybody who's on your list, right? Maybe they've been disengaged. Maybe your offers changed. It's a great excuse to just reconnect and re-engage people on your list by saying, hey, new list, who this, right? And that's what I did actually. I don't know, about 6 months ago, I did that. So that's number 1, update your nurture sequence. Number 2 is segment your audience. And this is something that's super, super basic to anyone who's actually a marketer, right? If you have someone who's working for you in a marketing realm and they're not segmenting, fire them immediately, right? But if you're listening to this and you're on the DIY tip or you're doing your own marketing, it might not be something that you've thought about. So by segmenting, I mean, break your audience into different buckets based on things that matter to you or to them, right? So maybe it matters whether the people that you serve are, in the first stages of their business, in the beginnings of their business, or they're very experienced. Maybe it matters who you serve, whether they have very little revenue or whether they have a lot. Maybe it matters, if you're teaching people different skills. Maybe it matters whether they're a beginner or how much experience they've had. There's all kinds of things and information that you can learn about your audience that makes a difference in how you actually speak to them, right? In the messaging that you send. So start thinking about what are the different segments of your audience and then break those people out into actual segments where if you want to send an email to just a certain group of your audience, you can do that and you know how to do it, or your team knows how to do it. So some specific examples, right? The second part of this is increase the relevance of the content that you're putting in front of people, because we're not just segmenting people just to be like, oh, you're in this bucket and you're in this bucket, right? We're segmenting people so that we can be more relevant, so we can put more relevant content and more relevant offers in front of them. So some specific things that you can do after you perform this task, after you segment people, is you can be more relevant. So for instance, you probably have a lead magnet. If you have an email list, maybe you have a lead magnet or a freebie, or a light bulb moment. People call it different things, but something that you offer to people in exchange for them getting on your email list, right? And hopefully that something is related to the thing that you are trying to sell them down the road, right? Okay. So when they opt in for that, you should have a thank you page. And on that thank you page, you now have a chance to put a very relevant offer or piece of information in front of them that will improve the quality of their experience, right? Either it's going to help them solve the problem that they opted in for faster, um, or it's going to give them some information that's going to help them, quicker. So the thank you page is, 100% of the people who opt in for something or who buy something see the thank you page. And that is a really beautiful time to put a super relevant offer in front of them. And it's not that hard to do, but people just don't do it because they're just thinking about the surface and they're just kind of throwing things out there and getting things up, and they're not taking time to map out the whole journey. So that's a specific example of something you can do. Another really great place where you can put super relevant content is after somebody takes a survey. So I'll just tell you right now, if you're listening to this and you come and you opt in and you get on my email list, you're gonna get information specific to whatever you opted in for, right? And you're gonna get my welcome series, right? And in the third email of that welcome series, I have a survey because it helps me to know where are you at in business. What's the state of your current technology stack? Like, what are you specifically struggling with? So I have a super quick survey, click, click, click. You don't even have to type anything for you to be able to tell me those things, right? And so the next step after that is to be able to put a super relevant offer or piece of content or something helpful on a thank you page specific to the information that was just shared. And you can do the same thing in your business. And the thing is, it takes some thought, it takes some planning, it takes stepping back from just being mired in the day-to-day of your business to actually think about those things, plan those things, and then create a project to make sure those things get executed. So those are two examples that if you do these things, you are going to see improvement. You're going to see more opt-ins. You're going to see more sales if you do just those two things. Okay. All right. Number 3 is go upstream. And by that, I mean, if you are creating content for sort of the beginners in your market, go upstream and think about the people who are more experienced, the people who, have whatever the next set of challenges is, right, that they're going to need to solve. Think about those people and make some content for them. Because something that happened to me and something I see a lot is we kind of get stuck in this beginner phase, right? Either making content for people who are still struggling with like really beginning phases of business, and then wondering why we can't get clients to pay us like premium high ticket rates, right? Because you're not speaking to their problems. As you grow in business or as you grow in whatever the area of your business and your audience that you serve, they are going to experience different problems and different challenges. So don't forget to think through the whole journey of people as they go through, the journey that you're taking them on to solve their problem, and think about what about the middle? What about the end, right? And create some content for those folks so that you're not just bringing in people who are on the struggle bus and are going to struggle to even buy like your introductory offers. Okay. So go upstream and think about all the different phases of the journey you're taking people on and make content for each phase that people are in. Okay. All right. Number 4 is promote, 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 right? We get so focused on creating more content that we forget that we probably have a lot of great content that's already out there and you could just spend more time promoting it. And you should probably spend twice as much time promoting your content, assuming that your content is good. You should spend twice as much time promoting it as you do just creating new content or repurposing new content. And so one of the things that I do, and if you're at all in a Facebook group with me or kind of in my sphere, you've probably seen me do this, is people have questions, they have challenges, they post things in groups, and I have at this point 46 podcast episodes in addition to all the 8.5 years of other content that I've created throughout my business that address those problems and those questions. And so I'll head over to my pot of gold and I'll specifically get the relevant piece of content and I'll drop it, as an answer to a comment or a question in Facebook or on Instagram or whatever the venue, right? Or maybe it's somebody texting me, like whatever it is, I'm like, oh, yep, I have specific content about that problem. Here it is. And I tell you what, you're going to get a lot more engagement and response when you do that because people are already in the mode of needing to solve the thing that your content is going to help them solve. So it's going to increase, it's going to increase the number of people who see your content, the number of people who need that specific piece of content. And then if it's helpful to them, they're probably going to share it. So it's a great thing to do is to just think about, okay, we've created a lot of really great content. How do we get it in front of more eyeballs? How do we promote this and get it in front of more people, right? Because you've done the work, you might as well reap the benefits and continue reaping the benefits, right? That's why television has reruns, right? We used to have to show up like on the dot to watch our favorite show. And now we just, fire up Hulu or Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever it is, right? Your content is the same way. It's there all the time. It's there forever until the robots take over, right? So you might as well promote it. All right. Number 5 is testimonials. You probably know in the back of your mind how important testimonials are for increasing your conversions, getting more sales, getting more of the types of clients that you want to get. But even people who know that tend to not focus on and spend enough time actually getting testimonials and making sure those testimonials get put in front of the right people at the right time. So I encourage you to really do a deep dive into this topic and figure out, where are your testimonials? Do you have testimonials? You better have some, right? If you don't have some, then going to get some is your first order of business. If you have some, where are they? Are they scattered around your Google Drive or are they inside the pot of gold? Are they inside some kind of system where you can get to them really easily? Are they public? Can people find them? Are they on your YouTube channel? Are they on your, your purchasing page, right? On the cart page? Are they on your about page? Like, where can you put them that they will do the most good? The decision points where people are deciding whether to go deeper with you. That is a great place to put a testimonial. And for extra credit, put a testimonial that addresses a specific objection that people who are viewing that content are likely to have. Okay. So tons of great work to be done, just gathering all your testimonials, putting them in really relevant and useful places, and then figuring out a system for getting testimonials on the regular. And I can tell you, this is something that we're constantly working on and we'll continue to work on. And then, of course, I have a bonus for you. And the bonus is get a buddy, right? If you're trying to get in front of more people, partner up with somebody who has a compatible audience to you or who has a bigger audience than you and can put you in front of people who are likely to need your services. And, just an hour before recording this podcast, I did a live stream inside my Service CEOs Facebook group and on YouTube with Veronica Jans, who has been on the podcast. We'll link to that episode in the show notes. I'm front end operations with sales and marketing, and Veronica is back in operations with service and delivery. And, together we make a really beautiful pair that like goes together like peanut butter and jelly, right? So we did a live stream together that you'll probably see repurposed around. It might end up on her podcast. I will definitely be promoting it to my audience. So that is your bonus. Get a buddy and partner up with somebody because business is more fun together than it is alone. It's hard enough, so you might as well have fun and partner up with people that you like and make money together. All right. So those are your 5 ways to go deeper with your marketing. And I think it's really appropriate that this is the last episode of season 3. And we're going to take a real break. In the previous, in between seasons, we've done bonus episodes. But at this point, we have now 3 seasons plus bonus episodes. So 46 podcasts that you can go back and listen to or re-listen to and then implement. Right. And Content Bootcamp exists solely to help you implement all of the things that I have talked about in all of these podcasts, right? Either myself or, if it was with a guest, then their business exists to help you implement the things that they were sharing. So I talked last week about, what's after the mastermind, getting shit done. Right. So if you have been listening to these podcasts and you've been thinking, wow, this is so great, this is a great idea, but you have not been implementing, then just know that Content Bootcamp exists. just to help you implement these things, right, in the right order at the right time. So if you haven't yet come to check that out, we're going to be running our last cohort of the year starting in the fall, late September, early October. So make sure that you're on my email list so that you get the details of that and you get invited to those things so that you can come hang out with us and you can set yourself up for an amazing 2022 in your business. All right, so let's recap. Number one, update your nurture sequence, right? Go and refresh and just, make sure that what you're saying is actually what's still true about your business, right? So you can rewrite it completely, or you can just do a quick refresh and update some things. Number two is segment your audience and figure out what are the things that you need to know about people, about where they're at in their business or where they're at in their struggles in order to put more relevant content in front of them, and use your thank you page as the perfect place because 100% of the people who either opt in or buy something from you are going to see it. So use that really, really important real estate to put a relevant offer in front of them. Number three is go upstream, right? Don't get stuck just catering to beginners in your market, your industry, your niche, whatever it is. Make sure that you think about the entire journey and create some products, create some content for those folks upstream, especially if you're trying to raise your prices and do more high ticket stuff. Number four is promote, promote, promote. Stop just creating content on the hamster wheel every single week and take some time, right? Take your time, create some really, really good content that's really helpful and impactful to people, and then spend twice as much time promoting that around the internet. The internet is infinite and your people are out there. So figure out where they are and promote your stuff. Number five is testimonials. Get really strategic and get systemized about your testimonials, about collecting them, about putting them into relevant places where you can find them easily, putting them in relevant places where the right people will see it at the right time when they're trying to make a decision about going deeper with you, and then systemize that so that you're continually getting testimonials as people come into your business. And then our bonus is get a buddy, partner up, get with your business bestie if it makes sense and you have compatible audiences, and start creating some content together or strategize on how you can collaborate together so that you have more fun and you make more money. All right. So that is what I have for you in today's final episode of season 3. Thank you so much for sticking with me. And for my newbies, if this is your first time, hey, now's the time. If you liked what you heard in the last 15, 20 minutes, now is when you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. And thank you to the person who submitted my 60th review and put me over the top to that nice round number. But I can always use more. And it really helps people to know that this is a quality podcast that's worth their time, that is going to help them build their service business. So leave us a review. And who needs to hear this, right? Who has been sort of like just swimming on the surface and on that hamster wheel, on that treadmill, not really able to scale or increase their results? Share this episode with them so that they can go deeper and they can get more out of what's already working. All right. And the last thing I'll say is I haven't really talked about guests on the podcast, but I have been inundated with emails for the last several months from people trying to be a guest on the podcast or trying to get the person they represent as a guest on the podcast. So we do have an actual page now where you can go if you would like to be a guest on Begin As You Mean to Go On, and you are a woman of color with a service business, then go on over to carveldigital.com/guests and you can apply to be a guest on the podcast and tell us about your business, how you are having success with content marketing in your business, and we'll generally hype you up and share some knowledge with the people. So again, that's carveldigital.com/guests. You can go and you can apply to be a guest on season 4 of the podcast. And again, it's only for women of color with service-based businesses at this time. So don't all you white people come rushing at me. That's what's been filled up in my email box. But right now I'm trying to hype my fellow women of color in business and help us all be rising, the boats rising with the tide. So all right. Thank you all so much for listening. And please go and enjoy the 45 other episodes available. Go back, re-listen to those, implement them, come into the Service CEOs group and let me know how it's going. Come into Content Bootcamp and I will help you actually implement all of these things. I hope to see some of you on the inside. And until then, don't forget to begin as you mean to go on.